Hi y'all, today is September 6th. Don't mind my hair, y'all. I still didn't redo the front, but it is what it is. So, what's been going on? My mood has been, it's been okay. Um, but I thought I was doing pretty good. I was doing pretty good. Getting to work, you figure Monday was a holiday, right? So this is what ended up happening. I had like a 3 day weekend. Somebody on the back end with scheduling put a vacation day in on my schedule. I told my manager to get it removed because I didn't ask for it. It was never removed. So I took that as a sign, like, Candace, take that Friday off. So I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was just really, really relaxing. I did absolutely nothing. But I think it was Sunday or Saturday. I did make dinner, delicious. I took out meatballs. And I was planning on making spaghetti, but then I was just like, I can't really do a lot of spaghetti or like chili. So usually when I make it, it's all on Jamez to eat it. So I was like, let me do something different. So I had a packet of like the dry gravy. It was a turkey gravy, but I'm like, gravy is gravy. So I was like, let me do the meatballs with gravy and then have mashed potatoes. And I looked in my cupboard. We still had like a can of corn. So that's what ended up having. Delicious. We had like 2 days straight. I still have meatballs in the freezer. So if Jamez still wants me to do spaghetti, I can do like a smaller batch. But it just messes with my acid reflux a bit too much. And plus, I'm not a pasta girl like that. I like pasta, but I'm not like a pasta girl. So yeah. So that's what I did. Sunday, Friday, Saturday, I took it real easy. Sunday, your girl did the dishes. I did all of the dishes. I've been making breakfast in the morning, pancakes with bacon, because I bought tons of bacon before. So, we only got like one pack of that left, as well as we got pancake mix. So, yes. So we can do that a couple more times. Also, we do have like breakfast sausages in the freezer too. So anyways, Monday was a holiday. It was a slow day. Your girl only has 6 calls. All right. So that went good. And then, work starts up, right? And I'm like, ugh. But you know what? I'm like, Candace, you had a nice relaxing weekend, even though I didn't do anything. But so you had a nice relaxing weekend. You got this, you got this. Came into work. It was kind of fast on Tuesday. Of course, you're coming back from a holiday, an extended weekend for a lot of people. So yeah, it was kind of busy. But I'm like, oh, I got a team meeting coming up. I was feeling good. We're getting through the day. I get a message. And this put me into a spiral, y'all. I got a message from my manager saying that I'm an outlier in one of these stats, a callback stat. And it was like May, June, July, and August. Now I'm like, the thing is, let me tell y'all something. I've been on the phone since what? March? So March and April, no issues, okay? Hardly ever use callback. But in the month of May, I started to see something going on. My colleagues were seeing an issue. I was seeing an issue. It was a big issue. Nobody was addressing it, right? Because it seemed like it was a small issue. But when you start getting, 2 phone calls on that same issue per day, that's just me. And my other colleagues are having it. Yes, we are a big company, so it may not seem major, but I kept seeing it started to increase, you guys. The thing is, when I see things, I speak up. That's just me, okay? That's the type of person I am. I keep it real with you. I keep it real with my company. I keep it real with my managers. So anyways, you know, I was telling my manager in the past, starting from the beginning, they implemented a new thing, okay? My job implemented, and I made a video about this before. I never posted it. I actually deleted it because I just felt like I was just having so much emotions. I have a lot of emotions, but it's controlled, okay? But anyways, I get this message from my manager because his manager, you know, they get like these outlier things like, oh, this rep is high in this, right? I was high in callback. Now, mind you, I don't have any other issues, but I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, May, yes. And then you start to see it increase in June and July, and then August it starts to dip back down. So you figure it's like this peak. It's like I started to see an issue, I started to address it and look into it, and then I still start to see it, and I'm just trying to fix the issue. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how can we resolve this. The thing is, jobs, I'm the bottom of the food chain, right? So for me to my input, it doesn't hop up here fast, right? It doesn't. But I'm the type of person, I'm gonna stay on it because it's my customers. Bump the job. It's my customers. It's our customers. I want them to have a good experience, and I know this affects me as a rep. I know it affects my bonus capacity because I'm thorough. So, you know, I told you guys I deal with my call handle time is higher. I'm bringing it down slowly, but I am bringing it down. My other stats, my customers call back less within 7 days. I have excellent customer satisfaction, all of those things, okay? The only things that hold me back or that's weighted is customer handle time. And that includes hold time and after call. So like putting myself in after calls, like for me to notate the account or fill out a form, if it's like a customer dissatisfaction or complaint, right? But I hardly ever use that. So anyways, I got this email from my manager, basically forwarding the email from the other manager, basically saying, Candace, I got this report, you're an outlier for using callback. So just to let you know, this is basically a written notice. Whether you want, basically in the message, it was like, basically if you want to, if you have any questions about it, this will still be documented. But if you still have questions about it, you know, you can still ask questions about it, but it's still going to be documented. And so I'm like, okay, all right. So I messaged my manager. I'm like, hey, I have a question. Because let me tell you, when I started to see these issues, I asked my manager, hey, I got another call. Can I look at it? Oh, yeah, just use customer callback. Just let me know. I'll document it, right? And with Workforce, you know, to put it on my thing that I was off the phone. And he will always tell me to use callback. Nobody's taking me off the phones, right? As I mentioned, I'm at the bottom of this food chain. Anyways, so when I got that email, I messaged my manager, and I'm like, so I have a question, because when he used to tell me to use it as callback time, and this was on constantly, okay, constantly. Especially going into, you will see it, like, as I mentioned, that time frame, May, and then June, July, August, back down, right? Because the issue finally got resolved in August. You want me to have meetings with this person, send me screenshots. How am I supposed to do all of this while I'm taking phone calls back to back? You're not pulling me off the phones. Nobody's pulling me off the phones. People pull me off the phones to do, a 5-minute chat to tell me what the issue is. Like, why are we so stingy with time? I'm just one person that is trying to address a major issue but you only can take me off the phone for like, really take me off the phone for like 10 minutes. This is a bigger issue. Like, give me time off the phone. But anyways, I messaged my supervisor when he sent me that email. I said, okay, I said, I see this email. I said, I see that it tells me to sign off on it. But I have a question. You kept telling me to use customer callback time when this issue was going on. And I told you I need to look at these accounts, trying to figure out what's going on. Because let me tell you, it was like a domino effect. We as reps, the thing is, we as reps were doing the right thing. But then, because the system is backwards, we were getting docked as reps, acting like we're not doing our job. So we're doing something, and obviously the thing that they're asking us to do, the system was not inputting that information, causing the customer to, like, months down the line to have issues. Okay, so this was implemented in April. The change was implemented in April. So around end of May-ish, going into June, you figure that's like the 60 days, and that's when things started to really take off. It was like little, but when I start to hear people having issues back to back, and then I start having calls, as you mentioned, it's like trickled, right? And then it gets, it starts to rush down, right? I'm trying to fix these things, right? I'm bottom of the barrel. So anyways, I asked my manager, I said, hey, when you told me to keep logging out using callback, am I being penalized because you weren't updating it in Workforce? So I will see after time. Let me tell you this. After time, in the beginning, it was like a couple here and there because I wasn't getting my personal calls back to back to back on this, right? It was just trickling. We are a big company, so not every call I'm having like this, right? So he would tell me to use callback. In the beginning, he will reach out to Workforce, get it documented in my schedule. After a while, I started to see it take off, and I'm like, hey, I need to review this. Hey, I need to review this. I got another call. Can I look at it? Yeah, use callback time. That's what I was doing. But then I did see that my schedule wasn't being updated at all. So anyways, in this message I sent him yesterday, I'm like, is my callback time this high? Because I seen after a while, you weren't putting this information through the Workforce. Workforce was not updating their systems. Like, if you put this request in my timesheet, my schedule was not saying there was an exception. He said, exception or not, it's callback time, so it does get docked against you. This is what you told me to use. You're my manager. So I said, okay, so I'm being penalized for recognizing an issue and actually resolving the issue. And these people know, between him as well as the compliance person, they know how much time I put into it. Not just the compliance person, she really appreciated it. She really gave me my kudos, okay? She really, really did. I'm not looking for kudos at all, but like, she understood the amount of time and how passionate I am about my customers to even bring this to their attention and just keep on it and on it and on it. I will say this. Here I am back in May, letting them know, my manager, I'm like, hey, there's an issue. I reached out to compliance. As you guys know, I'm like the compliance ambassador for my team. I let them know one of my teammates mentioned something. I was seeing something different. They seen something different. I addressed both things in the compliance thing. Oh, just let us know. Anytime I see these things, I'm like, hey, I got another call. As I mentioned, it was not every single time. I got another call. Oh, can you take a screenshot and send me the information? So this takes time. So I'm supposed to do this as an after call. Let me tell you, after call affects my CHT. Think about that. So I already have a higher CHT, but I'm supposed to use after call to assist and send these screenshots here and there. Tell me what was going on. How so basically I'm being penalized for helping you guys out. Okay. Kind of going back, I didn't have an issue with compliance, but this is just letting you know what I was being asked to do, okay? In between calls, mind you, right? So my manager was like, oh, take 10 minutes, do the callback, sign out callback, right? I'm not calling no customers back, but that's what they told me to code it as, my manager, right? So anyways, I told him, when he sent me this email about this outlier thing, I said, so in the future, I should just keep my mouth closed. He said, no, I want you to tell me, definitely still speak up. That's why I have you as the compliance ambassador for our team. But I'm like, how can I do that? How can I do that if I'm being penalized and I still have to take calls? This stuff is not easy. I have seen other issues which can be major down the line, but I'm not going to keep going after those things. Like, I told my manager twice, and it's just like, as I mentioned, I'm at the bottom of the barrel. So unless I keep telling them more and more and more, and they keep seeing this more and more and more, then they'll come back to me months later. Oh, you had this issue. How do we resolve it? That's basically what happened with this other issue. Another manager of like a couple months later, like a month or two later, was like, yeah, I'm seeing this a lot. And then the compliance person was like, oh yeah, there's a rep who's mentioned that like a month and a half ago, and they know how to fix it. Oh really? Then they pull me aside. Oh, how do we fix it? And then it gets implemented to say, hey, this is what we need to do. Okay, all right. So this is major, you guys. Like the compliance person stated, she was like, this is not something easy to get something changed this quickly. Mind you, it wasn't quickly. I told them this like 2.5 months ago, but it didn't take until managers start to get together, and because their people are talking, I'm talking. I've been talking to you guys for 2.5 months about this issue. But until it starts to fall down, waterfall, that's when it captivates everybody's attention. But you know what? I already figured out what the issue was. So I got my kudos. From compliance, not my manager's manager, not my manager. Oh, Candace, it's always good to speak up. My manager's manager, under the kudos that the compliance did for me in like the chat, she was like, love it. Like, these people at the top do not understand what we go through as bottom feeders, right? Bottom feeders, as I mentioned, we get paid less, but we know more. When you start to move up, you start to move out of reality. You stop seeing what the customers are going through. When you start to move up, you look at numbers. That's all you look at. And numbers do not perceive what the call is. Call handle time, that's the number. Customer satisfaction, that's the number. All these higher ups, they look at numbers, you guys. Look at numbers for satisfaction, dissatisfaction, call handle time, schedule compliance, all of these things. But do you take time to tie in with these calls and see what's really going on? They don't. And I don't have an issue with that until you get me called out on it. So anyways, my manager's like, he responds back. I'm frustrated, okay? His response is like, well, we just have to keep you off the list. You can use callback time, but you have to use it wisely. No, how about you pull me off the phone? So I'm being penalized from you, and now it's getting reported to the other higher up manager that I'm basically an outlier. It looks like I'm doing call avoidance when I was helping the company. I'm reviewing accounts and trying to get down to the bottom of this issue. You guys are asking me to send you screenshots. You're asking me to tell you what's going on, how to fix it, like, all of these things. Like, there was so much going into it, and I'm not being pulled off the phones and coded. Okay, whose issue is that my manager thinks it's going to take 10 minutes for me to review accounts. They don't know the process. These managers don't know the process. They haven't been on phones in forever, if they ever have been on phones, okay? So when he mentioned, you can use callback. Oh, you know what? Next time, just use after call and just be mindful. But I'm like, if I use after call, you understand that's going to affect my call handle time, which you already want me to bring down. So I said, it's a lose-lose situation. I said, I love to help. I love to share things. But if I'm going to be penalized for it, I'm done. I'm not going to open my mouth anymore. And he's like, no, laugh. This is through chat. Laugh out loud. I say no. So this was like around 12 something. After that, y'all, I was so mad. I started breaking down crying. It was probably like 12:50. I told him, I gave him my spiel. I'm being professional, but I am real, okay? I'm not cussing. I'm not doing any of this, but I am being real. How I'm talking to you guys is how I will talk to how I talk to my manager, their manager. This is me being real. I'm not gonna fake being happy. You know what I mean? I'm not yelling at you either, but you will hear my frustration. Okay? So anyways, he didn't pull up with me. At the end of the message, I said, hey, as of 1 p.m., I am logging out. And that's exactly what I did. So here I am. I'm like, you know what? I'm messaging my friend, showing her what they're saying to me. She's like, are you serious? And I told her, I said, you know what this was, right? It was me helping them out, reviewing these accounts that I'm on and seeing a major issue that keeps getting worse and worse. They're sending out messages telling us basically we're not doing our job. And I'm like, we as reps are doing our job. It's a system issue. Well, you need to make sure you do this. But I'm like, how can we do this is if the system is not telling us to do that? Oh, the system should tell you to do that. It was just that thing, you know. I'm that person, and this is what my friend, and this is what people have said to me. We see things all the time, but we just keep our mouths shut. And that's how it is, you guys. Nobody wants to speak up because guess what? The work that goes into it, and then for nobody to listen. I was constantly on it since mid-May. Okay? I stayed on my supervisor. I stayed on compliance. As I mentioned, it didn't take off until another manager, and these managers had meetings. And that's why people don't say nothing, because you know what? You bring my girl, she brought this to my manager's attention. It was something different though. She brought this to their attention, like, but it's all combined in the same thing. It was just so many issues, right? So many issues. And basically, she brought it. I said, make sure you let the manager know. She mentioned it to him once. And I'm like, have you ever heard back? She's like, no. He said, thank you. It never gets taken seriously, you guys. And that's why she was like, I'm not doing it anymore. And she was like, Candace, I'm so sorry that this is happening. You did a major thing, and now you're being penalized because you were told to use callback versus them logging you out the proper way. Like, I didn't know there's going to be a proper way. If my manager is telling me, oh, just use callback time, that's what I'm going to use. So anyways, what I ended up doing, I logged off. I was crying. I felt so hurt. Like, I felt so hurt because my manager did not bat for me. Did not bat for me. Like, dude, you know why my callback time is so high for these months. You know why. You told me any single time, anytime I had one of those calls, I said, I need to review this. I said, this is an ongoing thing. I was side pinging. I'm like, yo, I'm frustrated. I keep seeing these things. We have to get on this. Oh, yeah, take 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes. Callback time. Log out callback time. I'll get it coded. How is that my fault? And then for him to be like, oh, yeah, now, versus, you know, you got to, after this, it's like he didn't take responsibility. And he just let me die by myself. That hurted me so much. so much, because I'm like, I care too much and I'm following what you're telling me, but your manager gives you a list saying I'm an outlier for callback, and it's like call avoidance, and basically it's a step. If I'm still high in September, then it turns into a verbal. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to see how September turns out. If it's still high, then, in October when we review September stats, I'll get a verbal. I should even be on the list, on that list. Like, my thing is, and what I ended up doing was this. I emailed my manager's manager, the manager that sent out that email to my manager saying that I'm an outlier. They just see numbers. That's the thing. They just see numbers. So I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that I understand on paper it may look like call avoidance, but I said I was told, I didn't say my manager, I was told to use the callback feature as I was reviewing accounts about a major issue that I fixed for the company and for my customers. And I put in there like a link to the video, and also that video shows that she responded to that where she says love it, right? Do they really take into account? I don't think so. So I said, now I'm being told, I said, I feel like I'm being penalized for helping. Now I'm being told, versus using, if something else comes up, if I have to voice something, versus me using callback, I should use after call. But I said, how am I supposed to use after call if my CHT is already higher than what it should be? Then if I use after call, that's going to make it higher. I said, I feel like I'm being penalized. I said, nobody's pulling me off the phones. I said, I will sign off on the thing, but I just wanted to let you know why these numbers are high. And I said, you can look at all my other stats when it comes to customers, not their numbers, but the customers. How often do they call back? I'm below what they want, right? Customer satisfaction, I'm great on that. Customer satisfaction. What else is there? There's another thing. Customer satisfaction, their callbacks, and surveys. Well, I wanted to say there was one other thing, but let's just leave it at that. I'm good, right? So I mentioned that. I just logged in really quick to see if there was any response. There wasn't. But best believe I took off today because I did have a hour and a half meeting with my new medication doctor. As you guys know, my other medication doctor left the company that I'm going through my job, which is for free. And so we'll see. They're going to increase one of my medications. They want me to do like an outpatient thing because the severity of my moods. And I knew it was bad, but they're like, no, you need extra help. Of course, they have the paperwork for Amazon. They're trying to figure out what they want to do with that for right now. They're trying to figure out, so they were like, you have your full-time job. How is that working? I'm like, it's a struggle. I said, but the previous medication doctor, I said, they fill out documents for my full-time job to have up to 32 hours off per month to use when I need it. She said, is that working for you? I'm like, not really, but at the same time, I need money. I still need money, right? She said, have you thought about a constant like leave of absence? So that's like a short-term disability, which I know I think I will qualify for. I don't qualify for FMLA, but I'm pretty sure I will qualify for short-term disability. She said like a couple weeks at a time, a couple weeks or up to a month. She's like, I said, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But the thing is that my mood goes like this, right? Sometimes I'm good. And then I feel like I'm okay. And then it goes back down. And I said, she said, we want to get you to a point where you don't even need 32 to have a 32-hour thing at all. I said that's what I would love, because you guys know I like my job. I really do. And even before I liked my previous job. But you have to figure, you keep going through these ups and downs and not having a constant mood, it is so overbearing, you know. And I said, you know, she said, we want to get you to a point, and I appreciated that. I appreciated that so much. I said I would not be opposed to taking off like a leave of absence, you know, and getting on short-term disability, and you know, working through these medications, so eventually I'm not going through this. I'm just strictly at this, you know what I mean? I'm strictly at a constant okay mood, you know, not these extreme highs, not these extreme lows, and all of this. I said it is affecting my work. I said, even, you know, when I go to work, I'm like, can I leave? You know, I feel so frustrated. But guess what? I've exhausted my 32 hours, which is 4 days out of a month. When I'm down, you guys, it is super, super hard. You come across a customer, you come across another teammate, you come across your stats, you come across somebody telling you, oh, you're an outlier, but nobody's got your back. That throws me off. I was so mad. So I logged off yesterday at 1 o'clock. I was debating about going back to work today after I had that session, which it did last a full hour and a half, but it was smooth. But it was like starting all over kind of. But when she mentioned that, like, we want to get you to a point where we don't even have to fill out documents for you, you know. And I'm like, thank you for saying that. That's where I want to be at. I don't want to keep going through these things, you know. It's tough. And it kind of goes back to what I was dealing with. And guess what? My manager, and that message that I sent to the hire manager, I CC'd in my manager. They never, no one has responded. I sent that around 1 o'clock yesterday. I had to type it up and make sure it sounded good and not like I'm being this representative. But I just wanted to let them know, you know, I understand this. I understand you see numbers, but at the same time, let my manager know. And when he pulls up with me, I'm going to let him know, like, I thought you would have had my back. You told me to do this as this. If they did things right, they would have pulled me off and actually had me coded as like a meeting or something, or a scheduled time or something like that. And guess what? I wouldn't even have been on that list. I'm helping you guys out, but I'm being penalized. Yo, I was just like, I can't believe this. And that's why I'm like, no jobs will turn their backs on you so fast. So fast. Like, my manager didn't even pull up with me. He's just sending me a message. Oh, did you see that side message I sent you? I'm like, okay, I seen it. You don't want to pull up with me? I said, and I told him, I basically tell him, I'm like, yo, this is the reason why. Oh yeah, I understand, but you know, we have to be cautious of how much time we're using. Dude, you know how much time I put into this. Anytime I logged out, I got your approval. Nobody logged me out as being under business time. It was more customer time. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. So I basically let them know, the upper management know, because I want documentation. I want this all to be documented. All of my chats with my manager, all of my chats with compliance, all of that stuff is in there. All of that. It's not my fault if my manager doesn't know his job and he's telling me to log out under a certain thing. And then on top of that, even after we had this conversation, it was just super, super crazy that you're going to tell me to use after call, which affects my call handle time. I'm like, do you understand what you're telling me? I was so, and then that was Friday. That was Tuesday. I was going to get through my shift. He's like, you sure you don't want to stay out for the team meeting? I'm like, no, I don't. He said, did you log out already? I said, yes, I did, as of 1 o'clock, as I stated. I said, you do not want me on the phones at this time. And obviously this is all through chat, but I'm like, you do not want me on the phone taking calls at this time. Like, my manager, he's a people pleaser, which is not a good thing. Like, you don't even have your back. If I was a manager and everybody, even at my previous jobs, like, Candace, you should be up there. Like, you know what you're talking about and you really care. I really, really care. I know some people just go to work for a paycheck. I don't go to my jobs for a paycheck. In a way I do, but that's not my driving factor. I don't care about bonuses. I feel like everything falls in line. And sometimes it doesn't. At this current job, it doesn't. Because people can abuse the system and they go unnoticed. Okay? But they can get money up here. If any of this makes sense, like I said, numbers. It's all about numbers. If you know how to play the game, you can get high paying up here. And you don't do really nothing. You know what I mean? Like, the higher up managers, like, okay, well, I understand, people want higher pay or higher bonuses. So you're, doing things to get customers off the phone to have lower call handle time. But it's also affecting your customer satisfaction. But you know what? Some things outweigh others. Now, I mean, they're at a playing field, but if you're quick with calls, you may have higher callbacks. You know what I mean? So, like, my things is I'm consistent. I'm consistent with my numbers. Besides CHT, I'm consistent with not having as many callbacks. My customer surveys and satisfaction is straight. What else can you ask for? Other people, they have lower this. They have higher callbacks, which that's not a factor in our pay, but they said eventually things will start to be looked at and included, which I would expect that, because you know what? When these people play the system, when they want to get customers in and out the phone, if we start to include other factors in there, it's going to throw a lot of things off. And guess what? It's going to give me a higher pay or a higher stature between everybody else. But right now, because only two things are looked at, it's just like, yeah, you can get customers on and off the phone, but how big is their callback? My callback is at 16.9, 17%, where others, they want it to be at 15, but we're at like 20%, so, or a little bit higher. I think it's like 19 or 20 as like an overall average. I'm at 16, so I'm doing really, really good. My stats, I'm like 10 out of the 56 that takes both calls. I'm doing good in that, But y'all, I'm here to say it's just like, you do all of this to help a company, to help your customers. You get penalized. And it was a major, major issue because it included compliance. Compliance is telling us, and they kept sending out messages saying, oh, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. We are doing this. But I don't think anybody understands, like, to be on something, if something's not right, and not to be listened to for 2.5 months until it gets to somebody else to recognize, yeah, this is a major issue, and now they want to have me CC in everybody else into these emails and things like that and give them. I'm not looking for no accolades or anything like that, and everybody knows that. I'm here to help fix an issue, and the thing is, I told them I know how to fix it. I've been doing this on my calls, but you know what? It takes time for me to do what I'm doing on the calls, and then also trying to figure out the system. I figured that out almost immediately. Probably like a couple calls in, because as I mentioned, I wasn't getting calls like this every single day. It was like sporadic, and then it started to fall, like really a couple calls per day, and I'm like, this ain't right. This is not right. This is a system issue, And I just felt like my hard work, let me tell you what my manager did. when the compliance person put or gave me gave me and my manager accolades or whatever, or my props, you know, she basically put this into like a video with my picture, my manager's video, a picture, along with, you know, stating that, you know, a lot of managers came together, but basically it was me that brought it to their attention and understood how to fix it, and I told them how to fix it, basically, right? That's what I got feedback, that's what I got information from, because as I mentioned, these people, managers behind the scenes, they don't take the phone calls, y'all. They don't even, the thing is, let me tell you, they tell us, send me screenshots. They don't have access to the system. So you have to have a representative such as myself that's taking these phone calls, who's actually playing around with the system, not playing around, but dealing with the system. That's why they need screenshots. Okay? So these managers, yeah, they can have all of these questions. They can take it to tech support, but until you're actually on these phone calls and having to plug in what we have to plug in, you don't see it. And that's where I come in, you guys. Like, I'm a bottom feeder, y'all. I'm a bottom feeder. I get a video. I appreciated that. And that didn't even need to be there, you know. They implemented it. And the compliance person was like, Candace, that's major. She was like, that is major for us to get this pushed through as fast as we did, and to get this up to the higher, not my manager's manager, but on the other side, to get that implemented. She's like, that's not an easy thing to do. It wasn't easy. It took time for me to keep being on it. She's, I appreciate you being on it. She said it wasn't until, you know, and she did mention it wasn't until you know, more managers kept mentioning this, and she said there was one manager in particular that also brought that to my attention. And I'm like, oh, and that's when they were like, Candace, we need your help, because you've been experiencing this and you said that you know how to fix it. That's where it all lied down, you guys. When that when the compliance person came into my team meeting, she made that video, she posted it out for everybody to see, right? My manager sent me a $5 gift card. $5 gift card to Starbucks, saying, I appreciate you being, or thank you for being our compliance lead. This ain't got nothing to do with compliance. That's you want to send me $5? You couldn't have sent me something else? Sent me a thank you? This is what I did. Once that came out, this is what I told my manager. I told my manager and the compliance person, I appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen to me and allow me to, basically, thank you for the time, for listening to me. I said, I know I was like beating whatever, you beat a dead horse. But I said, I know sometimes people may think I'm crazy, but I know what I'm talking about. I said, thank you for, you know, listening to me and taking me serious. Do they really take me serious? I don't think so. But when you're a person that is constantly telling them, almost like every week, I got another call. We need to fix this. I got to the point where I'm like, my manager, I said, yo, I'm so frustrated of seeing these customers. We are on the front end, and I'm telling you, there's a major issue, you know. And it was just for 2.5 months. Who cares like that? Who cares like that? Not a lot of people, you guys, but that's me. And here I am being penalized for doing a job well done, fixing an issue, which that's not even in my job description. Okay, I'm not asking for any extra money. I'm not asking for anything but for you now to have my back. Like, I could not believe that, y'all. That was like my biggest thing. I'm like, this dude, my manager, did not have my back to say, Candace, wait, wasn't this the time when all this stuff was going on? I've been with you since March. March and April, I hardly ever used callback. May, June, July, August. Towards the middle of August, that's when they implemented the change. But during this time, I'm still having to send you guys screenshots, do this. Like, you guys had me pulling in so many directions. My anxiety was high. You guys want to have short meetings where I'm trying to be thorough as possible. They want to pull me up for 5. Oh, I could pull you out for 10 minutes. What is one person being off the phone for a half an hour? Like, why? Like, you need to make more time in your end to hear this out. Because I kept telling them, this is major. This is very, very much major. If you figure it's a compliance issue, you know how major that is? When you have compliance issues, that can be, I don't know how big it could be, but I'm pretty sure compliance can be like a legal matter. That's why people get called out on things, right? For compliance. Compliance is in place because it is a major component. I digress. I'm helping the company out. That's what I basically told the higher up manager. You know what? You want to put me on this? Just let you know, I see other things. I'm not going to speak up anymore. I'm not going to speak up. There's been another thing that I mentioned to my manager twice. I still see it going on. I've had calls about this multiple times. So obviously this is an ongoing issue. But guess what? I mentioned it twice to my manager, and I'm going to keep it to myself. Until, you know what? Guess what? You guys, the current issue is a major issue as well. But you know what? Now I'm being penalized for doing something and speaking up. I'm going to stop speaking up. You guys can get fines. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'm like, y'all, corporations do not care. They only care about numbers. But as my manager, and you know, a lot of people, and even when I started in my hiring group, they were like, Candace, you're just like you're like white glove service. And I'm like, I am. That's how I am. And I thought this company was that. Like, this company is prestigious. And I'm just like, it's not. Everybody's like, Candace, I thought I shouldn't have been here because how you were talking about it. I'm like, I was fooled. I was fooled too. Trust me. I was duped. It's just like any other job. It doesn't matter the name, the company. At the end of the day, they all just want their money. The bottom feeders, we don't get recognition. They don't listen to us until things start to really pick up and things start to go haywire, until they get fines. That's when they start to look into things. Oh yeah, I understand. We gotta look into that. Like, I'm trying to help you guys out. Like, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm doing my regular job very good. I'm taking it a step above because that's who I am. Not just for the company, for my customers. It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot to see customers deal with something because of us, because of a system, okay? And the system is supposed to do these things, and it's not doing these things. And I'm telling other people, there's an extra step. The system is not doing what it's supposed to do. You know, you can send out messages all day saying this is what we need to do. If the system is not asking us to do that, it's allowing us to surpass that. And then guess what? Later down the line, months down the lines, it's affecting our customers. And now they're calling us in highly upset. But yeah, I really expected my manager to have my back. He did not. I logged off. I probably will be back to work tomorrow, which is Thursday. We shall see. Or do I need more time off? I feel like I vented enough between Jamez. I did enough crying yesterday. Today, I'm not upset today. I'm not upset. But I just want to let you guys know, like, you know, I will say this. Even though I say I won't speak up, I will still continue to speak up. But I know for a fact going forward, like my girl at work, she's like, if the manager wants to pull up with me, he's pulling me out as team meeting. And usually he does. He usually does. And I think my situation is a little bit different because this was not something I had to pull up with him for. It was more me doing deep diving myself. And that's why he went that route, because he wasn't pulling up with me. So guess what? This is a learning lesson for us both, right? but like at least have my back and saying, yeah, I told her to log out using callback. So let me take the hit for this. I understand she's on the list, but let's do this. Going forward, if there's months down the line, yes, then we will, do this procedure. But these months, it is on me because I never took her off the phones. I never did that. She always told me, I have another account. I need to look at this. This is an issue. That's what I expected. But I know going for, like my girl stated, she's like, I never use callback unless it is an actual customer callback. I said, this is what she stated as well. She's like, I didn't even know that you can be an outlier for using callback. I said, me either. But at the same time, I'm thinking like my manager is supposed to be coding this. And after a while, I see that he wasn't coding it. And that's why I asked that question. Like, if you code it or not, is that still affecting me? He said, yeah. So I'm like, as a manager, wouldn't you know what stats can be as an outlier in the future? Like system issues. Okay, you already know that. But callbacks, we were never told about that. So I'm like, you could have gave me some leeway and just at least had my back. And he didn't have that. Now he was like, oh yeah, just use after call. I'm like, I lose either way. Which one, The right thing would be like, you know what, Candace, next time this something comes up, let's take 10 minutes as meeting time or something else. At least it's coded the right way so it does not affect you. And it won't be considered as an outlier, I know going forward, I do not want to change who I am. I will never change who I am. I bat for my customers all the time. If there's a system issue, there's a system issue. And yeah, y'all, you should have seen me yesterday though. I cried, but I didn't stay miserable forever. I was really just more hurt than anything. I'm like, do you even know who I am? Do you know who I am? But yeah, I'm like, you don't understand. Like that was major. And I figured this out 2.5 months prior to any other manager bringing this to your attention. I'm like, what? And I think that manager is not like one of my, like, we have managers that do both things. And I think this manager that brought it up was a manager that only takes one call. And that's when they all was like, wait, yeah, we have a rep on this other department. They know this, It was just like, I don't know, y'all. But yeah, I know I'm a good rep. And that's all that counts at the end of the day. Money doesn't mean nothing because I feel like when you're honest, what can go wrong? You get a paycheck. I feel like because of me being me, I never go without. I'm I'm very caring. When I'm at work, whether I like the job or not, I'm gonna give my all to my customers because that's what my customers deserve. If I get frustrated because something is not right, policy is not right, I will voice my opinion. And people know that. I will be a whistleblower all day. I will. I'm like, no, this is not right. This really, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know, update you guys that I will be on a new medication. They may take me out of my job for a while. Amazon is up in the air. They wanted to speak with their manager on the medical side to see what they would want to do with me, because she was like, would you be okay with taking time off, like for a week or a month at a time until we can figure things out so you're not going through these ups and downs and having these effects of medication and then needing to use more time because, I was on a medication, getting switched off things, and my mood, I was very irritable. And they don't want that. She doesn't want that to be the case. So she really wants to, she mentioned pulling me, like, would I be okay with being pulled out of work versus just having an intermittent leave? And at this point, I will say this. At this point, y'all, I'm okay with it. I wanted to be there for my job. Not for my job, but I wanted to be consistent. But after they pulled that stunt and my manager not backing up for me, I'm like, you know what? I could care less about this company. You know what? I qualify for short-term disability. Y'all can't pay me. Y'all can't pay me. But I'll update you guys later. But I just wanted to let y'all know. It's just like, it's ridiculous, y'all. It's ridiculous. Comment down below. Like, do you guys speak up? Like, something's not right. I've done that at all times, y'all. All times. I've never been one to not speak up. You know. Nope. Even with my emotions, my feelings. You know, once I hit a certain age, I know, I was like, I don't care if my mom want to hear it or not, you know. Like, when I was little, I'm older now, you're going to hear me, you know. I've always, even when I was in school, I'm like, no. I've always been that person, you know. So, if I know I'm right, I'm going to state it. If I have a question, I will ask the question to understand it better. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm very open. People talk to me. People know they could talk to me. I don't judge. I don't give feedback unless it's warranted. But yeah, y'all, that's where I'm at. Debating if I'm gonna work tomorrow. I'm just like, I don't feel, I'm not mad or anything about my job. I don't care about going to work tomorrow. I'm over them right now, to be honest. It's like, you don't care enough about me. Why should I care about you? But I'm there for my customers. That's what I go to work for, is my customers. But of course, at the same time, I have goals, right? And I was just like, man, this is throwing me off because I wanted to have a nice full paycheck. I'm already at, 12 hours of unpaid time that was going to be in my next paycheck between today, 8 hours, and 4 hours yesterday. I'm like, I can't win. I can't win. I just can't win, you guys. I'm like, this company not giving me money for me having to call out because y'all working my nerves, you know. But it is what it is, y'all. Just wanted to let you guys know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling okay, though. Feeling okay. I am irritable. Even before this, I was irritable. But that nice weekend and that slow day on Friday, it kind of made me feel okay going into Tuesday. And now today's Wednesday. And I spoke with the doctor. And it made me really feel good that they just want me to be at this, you know. And to have them mention that, you know, not a lot of doctors mention, oh, we want you to be okay. We don't want you to have these spikes up and down. It's a constant roller coaster, and that's not okay. And as I get older, it's just harder for me to want to even fight, you know. When I'm up, I feel high as a kite. When I'm down, I feel low. And, you know, my son's older, so he can take care of himself. And now I'm just like, I don't care. You know, it's just like, less I care. I don't have to really take care of myself now because my son is self-sufficient. But I do have to take care of the dogs. But yeah, it's something. It's something. All right. I'm going to talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye.